So, brief forward about today's video. Recently I saw a video from Laura Minecraft that, if true, negates some of the points that I have ahead. Link down below. Well, this has become an unhealthy obsession. Normally I'd come up with an analogy of something like a 20-car pileup where everyone else has gone home and moved on, and there you are staring at the side of the road asking yourself how, or rather, why in the fuck did all this happen? Now, before we go any further, you're going to have to ask yourself, if NGR, do you have anything new to offer today? I do have a couple of theories to offer why this is all happening, and I want to explain my perception, or what you might consider my misconception. The reality of the outbreak is all because of one man, Snake Thing. The chat logs that originally spilled were between Kero and Snake. Those are legit. Kero acknowledged those are legit.
He had some doubts. He saw some evidence that made him believe that Kero was not the most innocent person on the face of the earth. People were matching up the ID numbers of the accounts that were shown in the screenshots with his actual account. Kero used the same kind of language and greeting with him that he was shown to use in the chat logs. The dog breed was very specific and matched pictures that were shown in the leaks. It seems that he had some reason to actually believe this.
The chat logs are fake.
Oh, thank God. Thank God he didn't say something that was the complete opposite of that.
So, I confronted Kero about this and basically told him, look, I know that these logs are real. If you keep denying that, people are eventually going to find out the truth, and this entire thing is going to start all over. And then, Kero agreed with me and told me that yes, the logs are his. He had those conversations, and he does have an interest in some aspects of zoophilia. He also claims that some of the forwarded messages are being taken out of context, but that's something that you guys are going to have to decide is valid on your own. Yes, Kero does have an interest in animals sexually, and he and Snake shared with each other some pornographic pictures of them.
Oh, so wait a second. He actually did have those conversations. Those logs weren't completely faked, were they, Kero? And when you tell people those chat logs are fake, what you mean is maybe, sorta, kinda, huh?
I didn't say a lot of those things, but I will say a long time ago I was part of this group. It was for people who had an interest in feral artwork, you know.
I think Kero may or may not have tried to walk that back about the authentication. Good for him. I'm still taking the logs at face value. My experiences with Toon Kritic, that being Zach Keys in the Bernie fandom, was when his downfall came when a 14-year-old girl who he was dating online decided to come forward after she contacted various people in the community. And while that whole experience had a series of hiccups, ones that have already been long covered, you can call my next point naive and ignorant. I'm grateful that the girl who wished to remain anonymous came forward to remove someone whose presence and actions were far more nerve-wracking and discomforting just beyond pedophilia, and should have been tossed long ago. Again, that's all been beaten to death. But the perception is, it's really easy. There seems to be no downside in this that I'm aware of to talk about and say that that girl is an unsung hero whose story removed a blight from that community that apparently nothing else could or would. The reality is, human beings are naturally far more complicated than just being good or bad. Yeah, it's true and much easier to believe that a 14-year-old girl is obviously better than Toon Kritic. That's not really a big limb to go out on. However, Snake Thing isn't a 14-year-old girl. Snake Thing is someone in a group full of furries whose interests involved animal-loving necrophilia, interests in children, like legit underage children.
We've already heard them talk about pedophilia, okay? If you missed the stream from the 3rd, you might be playing a bit of catch-up here, but it goes well beyond animal torture. It goes well beyond having sex with animals, torturing puppies, all that kind of stuff. These people do things to kids, and they advocate doing things to kids. And we're going to be looking at screen caps of alleged conversations between Snake Thing and other people talking about victimizing children. So keep that in mind. These are the furries in their natural fucking habitat. And it's never good enough. They can't just be degenerate at one fucking level. They take it, up a notch time and time again. The OP in this particular thread, before we get into this, said Levi had sexually abused his nephews and talked about it with fellow furry pedophile. It appears Levi shared CP with James as well. possible of said nephews. In the logs, Levi and James discuss how Levi's mother is in some capacity aware he is sexually interested in minors. Despite this, she still lets him around her nephews, resulting in them being abused. So, prepare yourself. Let me start pulling up screen caps and take a look at what these fucking people are up to. I'll try to get these on screen as best I can after I check to make sure there's not fucked up animal torture in them. Hopefully it's viewable enough for you. This is between Snake Thing and Sangi. Again, this is part of the leaks that happened about 3 weeks ago.
Children with blood relations to sexual offenders. And Snake Thing was in this group.
This is between Snake Thing and Sangi. Again, this is part of the leaks that happened about 3 weeks ago. Snake Thing. It really would be. I could sit you in my lap at the computer and stroke you as you look at pictures of, and I believe the redacted portion is his nephew. Haha, colon 3. I need him more nude. I need him more nude too. You do have that old video of him though. The one I made for you. Gone. Gone XD? I'm sad. I may be able to get it back for you if you want it. Yeah. Didn't show much, by the way. I'll have to look around though when I get to my computer. I know it still showed enough though. So I believe this is the beginning of the conversation where they're talking about the kid that he has access to. He wasn't just satisfied with abusing him. He wanted to share that abuse with other furries. And he wanted to produce what essentially is child pornography to send to other furries. And he'd go as far as, I guess, taking requests. People were sending requests on what they wanted to see. And from what he says, and from what other people involved in these conversations say, the mother was aware that something underhanded was going on. So she's not innocent in this. So it's a good idea to never be forward. He's a bit of a blabbermouth. Thankfully, I've managed to keep him quiet thus far, but to be honest, I've stopped it with him for 2 reasons. Number 1, he has told me to say hi to you, but hasn't really mentioned anything else. He isn't upset or anything, but I think he's not as inclined as he was. I'm sure he still finds you handsome, though. God, what is it with pedophiles and delusion? I'm sure he still finds you handsome, though. Yeah, I'm sure that's what the kid's thinking when he looks at a fucking fur fag. What a handsome guy that guy is. After a while, I'd rather him not recollect too much of the stuff. Number 2, I prefer blank. Plus, don't want to do more with. So it looks like they're 2 children. At least in the forward sense for 2. I don't know if that makes sense. Think blank would be more likely to be Hush. I do. Plus, you've seen his wee-wee, so that's a plus. Just no shame. These people have no fucking shame. So, I mean, this would seem to allude to the fact that he's admitting openly that he's sending child pornography of a family member, of a young male family member, to another furry, and going as far as to do photo shoots. It's specialized content. It's not enough just to molest the poor fucking kid. This piece of shit has to take it to the next fucking level and make it just worse. Has to really ride up the fucking bill of the therapist the poor motherfucker's gonna need when he's older. Alright, let's go to the next ones here. Yeah, this guy, he does this when he talks, and it's so fucking annoying. I'm sure he'd love to meet you someday. I didn't mention this earlier, by the way, but when I took those pictures earlier today of me with his underwear, well, I pawed with them and orgasmed with them. Didn't orgasm in them, but got a little bit on the outside on accident. I made a video of it. So, this degenerate piece of fucking filth takes the kid's underwear, and we can all assume what he means by pawed with it, and... Alright. Snake Thing. Hey, you really need... Jesus. You really do need a kid to fuck. Let's drug blank and hump his butt. JK, JK, JK. I don't think the drugs would be needed. Perhaps. They may not, although it'd loosen him up a bit, so you could enter him a lot easier. You'd be able to get in quite deep, I'd imagine. What kind of woman knows that this fucking degenerate is interested in children and allows him access to them? What kind of mother would you have to be to let that happen? To turn a blind eye to it? I mean, what the fuck is your problem, lady? And there's no way if this guy is this open in private conversation. He talks about it with everybody. In all these leaks we saw this constantly brought up. He's not ashamed of the weird, fucked up shit that he's into. And so, what's weird to me is if he's that open about his degeneracy, if he's that open about his pedophilia and hurting animals and doing disgusting shit like that, how it is nobody calls him on it in real life. How his parents can turn a blind eye to it. How nobody else in the family says anything. How none of the neighbors have beaten him with a fucking baseball bat at this point. Holy shit. Okay, let's move to the next one. Sengi, does having the image make me a kid slut? Yes, sir, it does. Don't worry though, being a kid slut is quite the promotion over a regular one.
Snake Thing is not a hero. It would have been a nice point to be able to point to someone in all this and going, oh yeah, there's a silver lining. Hell, I wanted to believe that Snake Thing was either a furry with some decency, or maybe this was some op that maybe someone out there with a lot of patience infiltrated this group to get more information out. But
Calls him on it in real life. How his parents can turn a blind eye to it. How nobody else in the family says anything. How none of the neighbors have beaten him with a fucking baseball bat at this point.
so with all that in mind, why would Snake Thing leak these chat logs? I mean, Kero wasn't hacked. It's highly unlikely that of two people in the discussion that Kero leaked them. I can't imagine it would be on any moral grounds. I can't comprehend it myself. The only thing that makes sense in my head is that Snake Thing was tossed out of a group, or Snake is someone's jilted lover. Think about that. The pseudonym chat that first came out with the leaks, that came out and then dipped after a short period of time with tons of logs and pictures, etc., etc.
This guy didn't just talk about Kero, but talked about multiple other people that were in this group. You can see when you look through their tweet archive, they bring up person after person. So it's not like it was a targeted thing at just one guy.
Which, when you think about it, with the quick up and the down, basically with the account on Twitter going up and then disappearing, yeah, that could have been an op. It could have been some troll's operation, which still, they would have been very valid and very appreciated. But let's look at this one more time.
Doing chores with, name redacted, I was trying to get him to do something he didn't want to do. And Mom was all like, he is your uncle. You do everything he says, no questions asked. And I'm here like thinking, oh well, can you suck my dick, XD? XD, oh my fucking god. LOL, I got bit hard, won't lie. I got bit hard, won't lie. I love your mom, but she apparently is still naive about you. Oh, she knows I have an interest in CP stuff. She's not that naive. Well, sort of. She's just way too busy in life to do much about it. Nibbles. As far as I know, she thinks she's keeping me in line, XD. Yeah, right. In line of keeping me thinking about fucking little kiddos.
Did this really all happen because one motherfucker got used to getting away with shit? That he felt invincible? It reminded me of the Toon Kritic confession. I'm going to play a brief clip here.
What's going on here? Like, can anyone tell me what's going on?
Okay.
Yes.
So,
but yeah, British.
do you want me to begin?
Yeah, you get to begin.
Okay, so Toon, we're going to preface all of this with you're in trouble. And this is going to be, a group talk so that we can discuss what we think you need to do and give you a chance to defend yourself. Essentially, we know everything that you've been doing with Pastel over the last year, since November of 2016.
Okay.
We know that we have a lot of solid evidence and concrete proof that you are, or at least what you have done, is pedophilia. You have asked for photos of her in nothing but a leather jacket and panties. You have sent her pictures of your crotch only covered in boxes. You've sent her porn. You've done a lot of bad things, Zach. And a lot of people are hurt by it. Most definitely. Whether or not you feel that she gave consent, you should have never have asked in the first place. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Do you hear the disconnect in Toon Kritic's voice? I'm not saying that this is a one-size-fits-all, that every sexual offender is going to act this way. It's just, it felt familiar. I feel like I've seen this before, and I'm sure there's some logical fallacy I'm missing, namely that my examples are anecdotal. People like this get away with crap because either people don't know or didn't want to know. So recently, I had to make an add to this script that helps explain Snake Thing's motivations. It's a bit underwhelming. This is from the abridged truth about Kero.
Number 2. Kero was not the target, but instead a relative nobody named Snake Thing. This is substantiated by bits in the logs where Snake Thing gives out his telegram info because he apparently has a kink for being blackmailed. This is impossibly stupid, but given this dude thought it was a smart idea to sodomize children and animals, don't exactly expect a world-class genius here.
Assuming that's true, and judging by the picture at 106 of the video, the abridged truth about Kero where Snake Thing says, feel free to share his face. It's really kind of hard to argue with that Snake Thing outing himself was just all for a sexual thrill. On to something else. I've been asking Ashley Zofox for a talk. Ashley, if you're watching, I'm actually going to do you a solid here. I shouldn't. But just to prove to you that I'm not trolling, and I could have just shut up about this. This is footage that comes courtesy of Kothorix via the original Ashley Zofox interview with Kero the Wolf.
The Ashley interview.
Hey Kero, will you be at Wapapa, and will Yami the Wolf?
I don't know who Yami the Wolf is, but...
Yeah, I asked that person on Twitter why they said that, and they didn't really respond. So
now, in the past, and even recently, I've given Kothorix a hard time. I've even said that I didn't apologize to acting like an asshole about him. But I did have to reach out to Kothorix, because his recent video, where he chat dumped all his logs with Kero and him, has been flagged down. I offered to pay Kothorix for a copy of that video, and he tossed it to me for free. After he asked me why I had his back, I suddenly explained I appreciated his work on Kero, and I used a Kevin Spacey analogy in how I said, I feel House of Cards is a good show. I feel that The Usual Suspects is a good movie. There are things in Kothorix's body of work I can point to and going, yeah, this is well crafted. The truth about Kero and the subsequent video that was removed were useful and entertaining. Kothorix seemed cool with that, and part of his perception on why he didn't charge me for the video was he felt that it was already up on Kiwi Farms. 1, it wasn't. 2, this was. The video that I originally had a problem with, where Kothorix decided to walk back his position. If I had to speculate about why he made the ill-advised position he did in the first place, perhaps he was simply playing devil's advocate. I normally do like a good, healthy discussion, but I beg to differ very strongly in this case that I don't feel that pedophiles deserve representation in this manner because of who they endanger. Now, if you personally want to fuss and muss over Kothorix's motivations, be my guest. But he made a good account of himself when I dealt with him, which he easily could have told me to go get fucked. I also think his second Kero video, which regretfully is down, put things in a much better light, and I encourage Kothorix to host that video on BitChute if YouTube doesn't allow him. I'll be glad to do it myself if he ever bothers to see this. Oh, right, the footage. Sorry about that, I felt like giving the credit where it was due. Kothorix came to the same conclusion I did. Ashley Zofox doesn't know dick. And the reasoning is, if Yami the Wolf was Kero and Ashley knew it, 1, this comment here is a subtle troll. It's kind of like asking there's a YouTuber by the name of Lily Pete who has used to pretend to be an individual by the name of Tira. It would be like asking Lily Pete, aka Jerry Pete, are you going to be the same place as Tira? Now there's allegations that that person is a made-up girlfriend. That's a whole nother long story that's been beaten to death. You know what, let me find a more better on-point example. It would be like asking Mr. Medicare if Billy the Anti-Bully would be going to, let's say, the kill stream if Jim was expected to be on that day. 2, if Ashley Zofox was clued in all along, I can't see Ashley being dumb enough to ask Kira about Yami the Wolf. That's needlessly dangerous, dangling a carrot in front of the audience that didn't have to be, that wouldn't be necessary. Yami's existence proves that Kira is into zoophilia, not just feral art, but like the legit thing. It also implies that Kira lied. Big shocker, I know.
Kero Yamimura. So this name Yami pops up over and over again throughout all of this. I mean, here's this Twitter page thing that he's into to hard zoo. That's what that means. Wait to protect. Oh, 49 notifications. Someone hates me this morning. So we've got this. We've got Yami. This name Yami pops up all over the place. If we go to Kiwi Farms, Kiwi Farms seems to think that Kero's name is Yami the Wolf. The thing that had the original file was called Kero Yami. I've got this screenshot of apparently this is Kero's old account saying, He is Yami the Wolf. This is from Pseudonym, between Pseudonym and Kero's deleted account, apparently, or, allegedly. I don't know for sure, which is unfortunate. But that's supposedly what this is. So we've got all these things linking Kero the Wolf to Yami the Wolf. And Yami the Wolf is this, known zoophile. And when I first started looking into the logs between Kero and Snake Thing, I thought that Yami the Wolf was a different person who was impersonating Kero, right? That was my first thought reading the logs, and then I realized, because Kero said the logs are fake, right? And that it's like a stalker or someone is impersonating him. So I was like, okay, so this guy named Yami is the one impersonating him. But then I realized the chances of it being someone impersonating him are actually pretty slim compared to it just being him, going by Yami the Wolf. Which is interesting because we also have this thing where somebody asked if Yami the Wolf was going to some furry convention, and Kero says he doesn't know who Yami is in the Ashley interview.
Ashley Zofox, I have no doubt. You must fucking hate my guts by now. But you could get the fuck out of the way. Barring your interests, and that you did threaten to flag Medicare and blocked me, and likely probably a half dozen other mistakes, there's no reason you have to go on the train with everyone else. I think you should apologize to Jim, give me, or hell, even this Kothorix gentleman, an interview. I mean, surely you're not gonna let this goddamn brony, that being myself, publicly show you up as a more reasonable human being than you. Are you, Ashley? This could be a new start for you. Pull your head out of your ass and start taking some steps forward. I mean, you're not as bad as Snake Thing, as far as I can see. Unless I've missed something in hours and hours of watching this crap. Or you can go back to the island of Dr. Moreau over here with the other misfits. It's your choice. There's one more thing before I go. This is Laura Minecraft. I'd like to state for the record, as well-intentioned as this is, I'll explain at least half of this as a mistake. Again, this is Toon Crick. During his exile from the Bernie fandom, he removed his channel from YouTube, but despite there not being any content that revolved around Toon's pedophilia, he did still get removed from Patreon, even though there was no arrest. Now, whether that Patreon got flagged down and he just simply didn't appeal, I don't know. I've never reported anyone on Patreon. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. And flagging YouTube videos falsely, i.e. flagging a video for removal for a reason that's not found in the videos, is kind of against YouTube's terms of service, and I don't condone that.
One of the most visible people in furry YouTube, who was recently implicated as a practicing bestiality enthusiast in takedown of a huge group. Some people are still professing he could be innocent, so I'm going to give a quick rundown of why Kero is 100% not innocent.
Now, I just grabbed a clip here because it is a very well thought out brief video that explains the bare bone minimal, and unfortunately this video only has 500 views. But this is the only video that I've seen that points out the whole goddamn reason for this was because some dumbass wanted to get off. You know, if someone wrote that into a movie, you'd call bullshit. Still, I'd like to thank everyone for keeping this story alive, not just for letting things quiet down and pass over. But I do try and encourage people to remain within the rules as much as possible. Remember, we just got done seeing how much crap Kero got in by not standing on the up and up. Well, then again, in Kero's case, might have just been the turd on top of the crap sundae. Take care. I do have one more final thought on why furries keep saying, why can't you just let this go? Does anyone remember the football player, Michael Vick, who winded up, I believe he went to jail? I'll try and have an article on screen explaining the length of time. He was a very talented athlete, but as much as people want to pick on, fans of football or dumb jocks, I don't remember ever talking to a single one that tried to excuse what he did. It's kind of weird that these people can care more about animals than furries of all goddamn people. Kind of makes you wonder.